Hello there! A couple of months ago, I counted down my top favorite Matthew Broderick performances, and now I've decided to name my favorite roles from another unappreciated actor, Tom Cruise. Why isn't he as unappreciated nowadays anyway? Yeah, I don't know either. But that doesn't stop me from counting down my top favorite Tom Cruise performances, starting with Roy Miller in Night and Day. This was an uneven action film, slightly ruined by an annoying lead performance from Cameron Diaz. Despite his top billing, Tom Cruise actually had more of a supporting role here. Anytime he was on screen, he knocked out of the park with a wildly off-kilter character who is very funny in addition to delivering some big action moments. Once he leaves, the film isn't quite as enjoyable, which showed how much it relied on Cruise's immense charisma. Like I said, Night and Day was just okay, but it's worth a look mainly for Tom Cruise. Chief John Anderton in Minority Report. On the outside, it seems like one of Cruise's typical action roles, but underneath, you have a man with a lot of thinking going on in there as he's on the run for a future murder. You sense the world is crumbling before his eyes and his desperation to avoid the authorities he was once a part of. A common joke regarding Tom Cruise is that he runs towards or away from something in every film he does, but if Minority Report is any indication, he sells that aspect better than most actors out there. This is a Steven Spielberg production, not as often discussed as other works, but both his direction and Cruise's acting talents combine really well here. Colonel Claus von Stauffenberg in Valkyrie. A very unappreciated film that I feel warranted more attention on its release. This was a very personal project for Cruise, and he imbues humanity in this character. Of course, it's very easy to root for anybody plotting to kill Hitler, but Cruise portrays the calculated personality of Stauffenberg so well that it adds an extra layer to him. You can feel how much he likes his country and will stop at nothing to stop this evil dictator from ruining it. Not a lot of actors can portray in both delivery and facial expressions, but Cruise does an excellent job on that nonetheless. Lieutenant Daniel Kaffee in A Few Good Men. Cruise brings the right amount of energy to this part, delivering that Aaron Sorkin dialogue with the necessary performance. He handles the dry wit of the character incredibly well, but his stronger moments are in the courtroom where he faces off against Jack Nicholson's Colonel Jessup. In a way, this is an appropriate part for Tom Cruise, as he really kind of looks a bit like a brash young lawyer. But Cruise is not an actor who rests on his looks when giving a performance, and A Few Good Men is a very good example of that. Charlie Babbitt in Rain Man. Cruise has a difficult role to play here, as he has to portray a man who takes away his autistic brother and uses his impressive mathematical skills to win money and have him come across as likable. Yet, leave it to Tom Cruise to succeed at doing precisely that. The character grows throughout the course of the film, and Cruise plays that incredibly well, as he starts off being annoyed by Raymond's antics, and soon starts to endear to him in a way that feels natural and not forced. Cruise also holds his own against the showier and more renowned performance from Dustin Hoffman. With both Rain Man and A Few Good Men, Tom Cruise proved an incredible ability at holding his own against these legends of acting. Vincent in Collateral. A change of pace for Cruise, his portrayal of a hitman in Michael Mann's exciting thriller had him playing a ruthless villain, which, let's be honest, a lot of actors relish and have fun with. He already did a very good job as the vampire Lestat in Interview with the Vampire, but Vincent was more subtle. Though obviously meant to be rooting for Jamie Foxx's taxi driver Max, Vincent is an incredibly cool character which Cruise gives the right amount of sophistication. Though he gets incredibly angry at certain points, he rarely loses his calm too much, and he's definitely a professional, and certainly one you don't want to mess with. Seeing him in Collateral definitely made me want to see Cruise in more antagonistic roles more often. Joel Goodsen in Risky Business. The role that made Tom Cruise a star, and why not? He's incredibly charismatic and funny in this part, and makes Joel an incredibly likable character. He could have easily come off as obnoxious and entitled, but thanks to Cruise's superb work, this actually becomes one of the most endearing teen films of the 1980s, even up there with John Hughes' filmography. Through all the mishaps that happen, he attempts to keep a level head, and it's difficult not to root for him. Again, a massive credit to Cruise in that regard. Dr. Bill Hartford in Eyes Wide Shut. Stanley Kubrick's final film, though the esteemed director has been acclaimed for his incredible visual sense, he also knew when to allow his leading actors to control the film. Peter Sellers in Dr. Strangelove and Michael McDowell in A Clockwork Orange are just two examples of leading roles who help elevate Kubrick's work even further. And Tom Cruise definitely joins that esteemed list. His confusion at this world around him matches that of the audience, and you see his mind tinker even when he's not saying a word. I'm a huge fan of when actors are able to convey so much through so little, and Cruise does an amazing job of doing so. A common criticism leveled at his performance is that he lacks chemistry with Nicole Kidman, who plays his wife. However, I think that's the point, as it shows just how detached their marriage has become. They're both in their own little worlds, they're suspicious of each other, even the sex is not the same. Again, so much portrayed in so little words, just little glances here and there. Eyes Wide Shut is such a multi-layered work of art, and Cruise's terrific performance is a part of that. I could continue on declaring why this is a masterpiece of incredible levels, but we have more performances to go through on this list. Jerry Maguire. One of my favorite romantic comedies, Tom Cruise brings the right humor and heart to this part, so well written by Cameron Crowe. He has his hilarious moments, but his best bits are when he displays his love for Renee Zellweger's Dorothy, and they are fantastic and they feel like a genuine, real couple. Nothing in this performance feels forced whatsoever, whether it's the quieter moments of his scenes or the ones where he flips out. Naturally, there's that Tom Cruise charm and charisma, but there's more to Jerry Maguire than just that. There's a likability and rooting quality there that makes a character's stories worth watching, whether it's the sport agent one or the romantic side of things. It's a performance that's both touching and funny at the same time, and Cruise truly does give it his all. In a way, it's almost the quintessential Tom Cruise performance, displaying his strongest abilities at the forefront. However, as amazing as he is in Jerry Maguire, my favorite Tom Cruise performance is actually Frank T.J. Mackey in Magnolia. Paul Thomas Anderson constructed an impressive group of actors here, all of which give incredible performances. Julianne Moore, William H. Macy, John C. Reilly, Philip Baker Hall, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Jason Robards, Alfred Molina, Melora Walters, Jeremy Blackman, Felicity Huffman, Henry Gibson, and Melinda Dillon are all excellent, so that makes it even more impressive that Tom Cruise gives the best performance in Magnolia, in my opinion. The amount of electricity coming out of him here is absolutely fantastic, as he brings out his macho, anti-feminist persona on the outside, but inside is a huge amount of history, pain, and anger just waiting to come out. On the stage, he is wild and has the audience on his side, but when put up against a persistent interviewer, he breaks down in the most quiet way possible. This is not a sympathetic character, and Cruise is not trying to make him one. Every scene, every line of dialogue is delivered with the perfect beat as he tries to make sense of every situation. In a way, Mackey is the perfect example of a showman, keeping his backstage persona hidden as much as possible. I've mentioned before that Tom Cruise has an impressive ability at giving multi-layered performances, and this is probably his biggest one yet. Magnolia is one of those films that has so much amazing aspects to it, and it is definitely one of my top 10 all-time favorites, no doubt about it. And Cruise's work there is definitely one of the main reasons why, along with the other aspects in it. And I have to say, it was difficult narrowing this list down to a round number. So while I may have missed some of your favorite Tom Cruise performances, it's definitely possible that they were very close. See you next time.